What's up, guys, and welcome to the final chapter, Chapter 11, Legal and Compliance, Part 2, from Ben Malisso's official study guide. Now, I'd like to give a shout out to Ben and thank him for writing a great comprehensive study guide for the CCSP. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into Chapter 11. So the first exam essential is understand terms and definitions of enterprise risk management. And what I mean by that are your key risk indicators, and those are metrics used by a company to inform management if there are any impending negative impacts to operations. You can think of this as your forward-looking metric. There are also your key performance indicators, and these are metrics used to help a company understand risks that have already occurred. And you can think of your key performance indicators as backwards-looking metrics. There's also your risk appetite or risk tolerance, and that means senior management will ultimately decide the amount of risk the organization is willing to take on. Also understand risk profiles, and that's analysis of the possible risks to a company. For example, analyzing the different operations the organization or company is engaging in, public perception of the company, the stability of the country that the company operates in, and so on. Also in Chapter 11, understand managing risk. For example, risk avoidance, risk acceptance, risk transference, and risk mitigation. If you're not familiar with these terms, check them out. They are in Chapter 11. Another exam essential is understand the risk management frameworks. So, for example, your ISO 31000, and that's the international standard that focuses on designing, implementing, and reviewing risk management processes and practices. There's your NIST 800-37, and that's the guide for implementing the risk management framework. And what that means is it's basically a methodology for handling all the organizational risk in an accurate and comprehensive manner. Then there's your European Union Agency for Network and Information Security. You can think of this as your European NIST, and what they're responsible for is creating the cloud computing benefits, risks, and recommendations for information security. Also in Chapter 11, understand vendor management. So for example, your ISO 15408, and that's a standard designed to provide assurances for security claims by vendors. So what that means is, for example, it provides customers with the assurance that security products that they purchase have been thoroughly tested by independent third parties and meets the requirements and vendors' claims. And then there's also your CSA Security Trust and Assurance Registry, also known as your STAR. Now there's two components to this. The first component is your Cloud Controls Matrix, and that's a baseline set of security controls created by the Cloud Security Alliance to help companies and enterprises assess the risk associated with a cloud computing provider. The second component is your Consensus Assessments Initiative Questionnaire, and that's pretty much a survey provided by the CSA for cloud consumers and auditors to assess the security capabilities of a cloud service provider. Now, there are three levels. The first level is your self-assessment. Second level is your CSA STAR attestation. And your third level is your CSA STAR continuous monitoring. As you can see here in this graph, your level 1, your self-assessment, is your least transparent, and your level 3 continuous auditing is your most transparent level. Now, if you're not familiar with any of these terms and definitions, I highly recommend you check out Chapter 11 because they are talked about in detail for you. Now, with that, let's go ahead and jump into some of the review questions. Question 1. Which is the lowest level of the CSA STAR program? A. Continuous monitoring. B. self-assessment, C, hybridization, or D, attestation? Now, if you said B, self-assessment, you would be correct. Question 2. Which of the following is a valid risk management metric? A, CSA, B, KRI, C, SLA, or D, SOC? If you said B, KRI, you would be correct. Question 3. Which of the following frameworks focuses on design, implementation, and oversight of risk management? A, your ISO 31000, B, HIPAA, C, ISO 27017, or D, your NIST 800-92. Now, if you said A, ISO 31000, you would be correct. Question 4. What ISO standard refers to addressing security risks in a supply chain? A, ISO 27001, B, ISO 28000, C, ISO 9000, or D, ISO 31000. Now, if you said B, ISO 28000, you would be correct. Question 5. What is an impossible level of risk? A, conditional alpha, B, maximum, C, reduced, or D, 0? If you said D, 0, you would be correct. Question 6. Which of the following methods of addressing risk is most associated with insurance? A, transfer, B, avoid, C, accept, or D, mitigate? If you said A, transfer, you would be correct. Question 7. The difference between KPIs and KRIs is which of the following? A, KPIs no longer exist, they've been replaced with KRIs. B, KRIs no longer exist and they've been replaced with KPIs. C, KRIs are forward-looking while KPIs are backward-looking. Or D, there is no difference between KPIs and KRIs. If you said C, KRIs are forward-looking while KPIs are backward-looking, you would be right. Question 8. Which of the following is not a way to manage risk? A, enveloping, B, mitigating, C, accepting, or D, transferring? If you said A, enveloping, you would be right. Question 9. Which of the following is not appropriate to include in a SLA? A, the number of user accounts allowed during a specific period. B, which personnel are responsible and authorized among both the provider and the customer to declare an emergency and transition the service to contingency operation status. C, the amount of data allowed to be transmitted and received between the cloud provider and customer. Or D, the availability requirements for a given period. If you said B, which personnel are responsible and authorized among both the provider and the customer to declare an emergency and transition the service to contingency operation status, you would be right. And finally, question 10. Which of the following is not one of the types of controls? A, administrative controls, B, technical controls, C, physical controls, or D, transitional controls? If you said D, transitional controls, you would be correct. And that does it for the last chapter from Ben Maliso's official study guide for the CCSP. Now make sure you check out the description on how you can get the book because I have it linked there for you. And I appreciate you guys for watching the chapter overviews. and I wish you all the best of luck on your CCSP journey. Now make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any of the awesome videos and tutorials coming out for hacking and cybersecurity. And as always, thanks for watching The Secret Letters of a Hacker.